I recently had the opportunity to sit back a bit and soak in the amount of games we have gotten in the past few years of the horror genre, but realizing that it's not only happening there, it's happening everywhere. And it makes me wonder if the entirety of video game remakes are starting to really take over. Now, you're probably asking what game in particular started this entire thing about companies wanting to remake their classics. Well, I may be biased here or uneducated, but I believe it was Resident Evil 2 Remake. After the reception of that game, which it did deserve, and also became Capcom's most sold Resident Evil game, Final Fantasy VII is definitely there as well. I apologize for that, but anyways, for Capcom, this implored them to make more. Then came along Resident Evil 3 and Resident Evil 4. Now more remakes have been rumored recently, being Code Veronica and Zero. An interesting fact is that Capcom has actually released more remakes than mainline games since the release of the RE engine. But let's move on from Capcom for a few minutes. What other remakes in the horror genre have happened recently? Well, Dead Space and Silent Hill 2 were more recent, along with Alone in the Dark. Now, I have no idea how well received that game was, but Dead Space and Silent Hill 2, from what I have seen, has had a positive outcome from their consumers. And if we branch out further, we know the big fish in the pond is Final Fantasy VII Remake, with Rebirth releasing earlier this year and the third part, I believe, in development. You also have Metal Gear Solid 3 being remade and a bunch of remasters like Dead Rising that came out in the Tomb Raider collection. It's all starting to pump out like crazy, and it makes me want to ask so many questions. Are you remaking these games to make the originals become extinct, or is it to send love letters to those fan bases and making things right and reimagining the stories and gameplay? And it's also like they're not remaking terrible games. They are remaking games that were great for their time. And from what I've seen from some fans is that they don't want to stop, and another saying they are extremely fatigued from not just remakes in the horror genre, but altogether. But again, what is the sole purpose of remaking these games? Have companies run out of ideas, since that's what I hear with Naughty Dog and The Last of Us, and the Until Dawn remaster wasn't received well? Is it to appreciate the classics, or is it a cash grab? Which I think a vast majority of remakes is not a cash grab. I don't think the Resident Evil remakes are, along with Silent Hill 2 or Dead Space. I don't think Final Fantasy VII is in that category neither. I remember there was a Knights of the Old Republic remake that was supposed to happen, and now God knows what happened with that game. Whether if it's delayed for a while or it's in a really bad spot right now, because when I saw the reveal trailer for that game, I was really looking forward to it. I believe as long as you respect the original source material and, in my opinion, expand a bit on it, then you're going to be just fine. Because look at what Resident Evil 1 Remake did back in 2002. That to me is one of the only remakes I have not seen termed as soulless or anything else, even though I don't like the word soulless being thrown around lately. But there will be a point where these things will stop, and there will be a conversation about what other IPs can get this remake treatment. Dead Space 2 is arguably going to happen getting its remake. Silent Hill 1 and 3 is for damn sure going to happen. Same with the Resident Evil remakes that need to happen, along with Code Veronica, Zero, and maybe throw 5 in there, since that's been teased. And about those other IPs, Dino Crisis is one that Capcom fans desire for aside from Resident Evil. Could you do a Haunting Ground remake, or dare I say Devil May Cry 1 or 2 remake? I don't think remakes are stopping anytime soon. You will have ones that will respect source material and will motivate and ask you that you want more remakes. But then there might be ones where the soulless term, quote unquote, could be showing up. For me, the Resident Evil 2 and 4 remakes are in my top 5 RE games and are both great games in my opinion. 3 I didn't mind, just really short and cut content was definitely one of the negatives of that game, even though 2 Remake did have its fair share of that as well. And I'm excited for what will be in store for the horror scene of remakes, like the games I mentioned, saying those remakes could happen very soon. I do think what the company should do, in my opinion, is remake the games when you know it needs one, not because you want more money, even though they obviously do. What I mean is Resident Evil 0 and Code Veronica are both over 20 years old. I'd love remakes of those games. Does Resident Evil 7 need a remake? Hell no. I'm not saying Capcom is going to do that, I just think that is the metaphor, if that's the right word, for other companies if they want to do so. Also, if there is a way of preservation of the older games and getting them onto modern consoles, then do that as well. I think it would be fantastic for the fans to experience the original either before or after its remake. And I think that is perfect fan service, because I can't be mad at any of that. Even if people that weren't excited for the remake got that as a treat, they'd probably be satisfied. You will have new titles from those franchises no matter what. RE9 will eventually happen, and Silent Hill still has Townfall and F in the works. Anyways, let me know in the comment section down below. Are you okay with the amount of remakes that are happening lately in the gaming industry? For horror fans, are you okay with this too? And if so, what games do you want to see get this treatment? Be sure to leave a like on this video to help it reach the YouTube algorithm, and subscribe to the channel for more content like this in the near future. And as always, I'll catch you in my next video. Peace out, and much love.